tucked away in China's southeast corner is Jingdezhen, where the art of manipulating minerals and clay with pigments and enamels under scorching heat was established during the Han Dynasty.
We don't know a lot about what they made, but we know that documents said that porcelain was produced in Jingdezhen between 206 and 220 AD.
In the Tang Dynasty, porcelain evolved from being purely utilitarian to items of beauty that were also stunning technical achievements.
Tang brought aesthetics into the porcelain and the quality of fineness, which you often hear in Chinese porcelain, how thinly they could make the ware, how translucent, how ephemeral it was, really.
The Song Dynasty brought an understated elegance to porcelain, and it's still greatly coveted.
Songware was characterized by a creamy glaze, shiny surfaces, and a green underglaze, very much a greenish tinge.
The Ming Dynasty is well known for its combination of stark white porcelain and rich blue underglaze. But did you know that different emperors required different shades of blue?
For me, the most striking thing about Ming was the fanatical adherence to quality. Many of the mounds of waste porcelain outside Jingdezhen are actually not mounds of items that came out of the kiln ruin. They're mounds of items that the mandarins who were due to take this porcelain to the emperor judged as being imperfect, and they were smashed deliberately.
During the Qing Dynasty, advancements in porcelain accelerated with the introduction of multicoloured overglaze designs, which led to the well-known Famille Rose and Famille Verte palettes.
People get very confused by these terms. In fact, they were just talking about the point at which particular colours were discovered. Colours that were previously unobtainable, and suddenly all the porcelain would be named after that particular colour.
Matching the artistic growth in porcelain was the European appetite for it, and by the 17th century, Chinese porcelain was all the rage. The market was controlled by a handful of East India trading companies who had limited access to China through the port of Canton.
The whole of Canton was a concession area where foreigners were allowed to set foot and trade, but only under license with local merchants.
Because they weren't allowed into the rest of China?
They were not allowed into the rest of China, no, absolutely not. No. When you look at these old bowls, the bowls are dated by the particular flags that are on them. Each country was represented by one East India company, and each one had one hong. Yeah. And so a hong, literally a warehouse, a trading warehouse.
Interesting. History through porcelain.
Indeed, a lot of history through porcelain.
By the late 18th century, millions of porcelain objects had moved through Canton. But exports declined dramatically with the introduction of European production and chinoiserie, designs that appeared to be Chinese but were in reality imitations from the imaginations of Western artists. The most famous example being the willow pattern porcelain, whose imagery and legend were created in England. Today, many European export porcelain pieces remain in collections. But tragically, the rise of Chairman Mao and the Cultural Revolution left most of China's most beautiful porcelain in piles of smashed shards. Thankfully, enterprising artists are now reshaping these remnants into pretty keepsakes and jewellery. Probably the only way for most of us to be able to afford our own Ming, Sung or Tang vase. Viking river cruises. Let us share with you the culture and traditions of ancient China.